Cassper Nyovest has been one of the biggest names in hip-hop, if not the biggest. He's done everything for the game. He's filled up stadiums, sold out shows, won numerous awards, and achieved accolades probably no one will ever achieve.
It's not easy as it looks. I might make it look easy because I don't want my crowd or those people who follow me to know that I go through a lot, because I don't want them to believe. I don't want to mess with their belief, and their inspiration.
He isn't just hip-hop's great, but he's a South African great, a legend, and a man who paved the way for many artists in the industry. But why doesn't the industry respect Cassper Nyovest?
I have nothing against Cassper. Love his music, love his career. What he's done is inspiring. Shout out to him. The issue I have is with the fakeness in the industry. And he's part of it. Like I said in the branch, that he reminds me of everything that I hate about the industry.
Cassper Nyovest came into the limelight in late 2013, early 2014. And when he dropped his hit song Gusheshe, featuring OK Malum Cool Cat, everyone was hooked to their TV screens to see what he can do next. It was exciting to see a new kid on the block define SA hip-hop to what he thinks SA hip-hop is. The cultural relevance, the ability to make a South African hit song. It was all there. So Cassper went to release countless bangers, multiple hits like Dog Shebeleza, Tsebib, Pumagim, Mama I Made It, Baby Girl. And if I carry on, I won't ever stop. It's safe to say that when it comes to having an amazing catalog, the only competition Cassper Nyovest has is AKA or KO. So with those two names being put into the picture, let's talk about the first incident where, for me, I'd say the game started losing a bit of respect for Cassper Nyovest. When the first annual MTV-based Top 10 MCs list was announced, it sparked a bit of fuel between AKA Cassper and KO. KO was placed at number 1 on the list after having an amazing year with Kara Kara and Cash Time, and I mean, he was the coolest thing to land in South Africa at the time. There was no question that KO was going to be put first place. The first rapper to hit 1 million views for a video on YouTube, and obviously this didn't sit well with Mr. Cassper Nyovest because he was put right under KO and AKA was put at the 3rd spot.
Yet again, it's not me discrediting Cassper from this milestone. You know what I'm saying? But I just think if it was based on music, I think AKA should have been number 1.
Anyone could have gotten the first position. AKA had Congratulate. Cassper had Dog Shebeleza. It was honestly between just them. So Cassper decided to drop a diss track, and he said this about KO.
Music is kinda average, my niggas up off the bar. I'm cool with number 2 cause I'm richer than number 1.
Now for me, I didn't lose respect for Cassper when it came to this. In fact, I played the song every day as a diehard AKA fan. I respected what he did for hip-hop at the moment, but we want to talk about what he said about KO though. Firstly, KO didn't even entertain him. He didn't diss him back. He didn't even say anything to Cass. But Cassper's problem is he's always played the victim. He's always felt like everyone else was on AKA's side, and he felt like people, even artists in the industry, were always picking AKA's side. So he kept mentioning these rappers that had nothing to do with his beefs.
This beef messed up my relationship with a lot of niggas. It managed to do the same thing with Cash Time. I love my niggas, but I see they chose your side. Nobody wanted your mind, but it's cool. I got mad rhymes. It was coolie China than it was last. I wonder whose dick you gon' suck next.
Firstly, I know that was not a shot at Kuli Chana, but bro should be, Cassper's Motswako big brother, which he is. But he deserved more respect from this situation. Just because the other guys enjoyed working with Keenan, it didn't mean that they didn't like him.
Especially because you're cool with both, you know?
I know, I've always been vocal about how it's a bit of a bummer for me because, I'm a huge AKA fan. He's my lighty.
Yeah.
Cassper is my lighty. And it kind of sucks. It would be nice to be one big family.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest. I find it a little interesting as well. Hip hop is a
competition. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, big up to them. I just hope it doesn't ever get to a Big Ian Park.
But nonetheless, Cassper did apologize, and he pulled a J. Cole before J. Cole pulled a J. Cole. And that's completely fine. But the next situation started getting a bit hectic.
Somebody say Cassper said fuck me. Okay, I ain't tripping. You're trying to trick me so that I can get knocked out. Gosh, hey, tell Cassper that I love him. Tell him that I look up to him. Tell him that the album that inspired me to go out and really get this shit was his first album, Tsholofelo. I love him. I fuck with him. I never had a problem with him. I was just mad when he had some shit to say about me. That's it. I love that nigga, man. And he won't say the same about me.
So we heard that MT was supposed to be on a song with Cassper, like back in the day, not the recent song that they've released.
Alex Lee, everybody Lee, I'm a Josie baby, you know how you go.
MT and Cassper were supposed to link up for a studio session, and MT failed to show up for some reason. And people just started saying that Cass is the reason it didn't happen. And Cassper came out to actually say that he has a lot of love for MT. I really wanted to work with him, and I wanted to help him build back up again, because I think he is immensely talented. He said this was around the time when MT left Ambitious. And shout out to the game for featuring MT despite the drama that was surrounding him at the time, because they actually did try and build him back up. But anyway, people had a problem with how Cassper was wording what he was saying, because Raf, MT's producer, said the biggest problem with this guy is that he's going to claim that he helped MT to bounce back. Kanti MT is already doing his own shit without anyone's help, said Raf. Then Cassper said, I think someone got in his ear and said dumb shit to him, and we never got to build.
All these other niggas, they are now work rappers and good boxers. Me, I'm not a boxer. Not a boxer. Uthola ukwazekile nje. Yazi ukaphi.
So at this point, I've always thought that the dumb person that Cassper was speaking about wasn't Raf, but it was his nemesis, AKA. Because we know how close AKA was to MT.
I didn't go. On the day I was supposed to, I turned back, straight up you. You was wanna trap me into something. Some weird ass shit.
You didn't get genuine vibes.
Yeah. Then again, knowing dude, you know, hey, I ain't want no weird or, you know, headlines to come out tomorrow. Find out that maybe while we were in studio, he acted like he was cool and we're recording. Can't he probably take a video of my crack? I ain't want nothing weird like that to happen, because a lot of stories that have come out about me are crafted.
Cassper was certainly touched by MT not making it to the studio session. He even remarked this on his interview on the Behind the Story BET Africa. And he said, even with MT, we were supposed to go to studio. He switched off his phone. I'm feeling like, yo, this guy's phone is off. Like, I was excited to be in studio with him. And I'm like, he mised me. And not only that, there's a lot of people who actually mize me, Cassper shared.
Yeah, big shout out to Mufasa, you know. Yeah, shout out to Mufasa, man. I really meant what I said. I wasn't playing. I was just mad about y'all bitch ass niggas taking that shit, making comedy out that shit.
Okay, so our next guy that Cassper should have acted like an OG towards was A. Reese, especially A. Reese. We know how open Baby Boy was with the way he viewed Cassper Nyovest. We know just how much he looked up to Cassper. He made a whole song about him. Man, he posted a picture of himself and Cassper Nyovest merch. That's Aries' GOAT. That's his OG. And Aries has always been open about it. Because in 2014, Reese dropped the Cassper picture, which he openly posted. He openly gave this guy his flowers, where he was talking about Cassper winning awards, basically paying homage. And fast forward to when Aries blows up, and they seem a little distant.
You know when Aries first came out, he came out through PH.
I know his history. One of his first releases was Casper's picture.
Yeah.
So I've been one of his inspirations for a long time.
When it comes to hip-hop, or when it comes to the culture, Aries will always protect this culture. The culture comes first to him. So anyone who stands in the way of that is going to get called out. Because let's be honest, if it isn't AKA doing that, then it's Aries. But anyway, if you guys recall the time when Cassper turned back, when he turned his back on the culture, right? The culture of hip-hop. And he proceeded to say hip-hop is dead. He's moving to Amapiano. That is actually the time where we needed our GOATs the most. That was the time when we needed our OGs the most. We didn't need Reese or Nasty or Shane Eagle because they weren't at that level yet. I mean, they were, but they weren't at the level of KO and AKA and Cass. But KO and AKA kept the game going. Cass just left it. Now, as someone who used to look up to you, I have to call you out. I have to say something about you.
Now, the lyrics say, it was all bad, niggas ran, where did I go? Niggas couldn't rap, so they fled to the Janus. Whoa. Niggas say they love it only when they dab. That's a hypocrite. Disrespect the culture for some clout and some dividends.
For me, I don't think that's how Cassper should have handled the whole hip-hop Amapiano situation. Because at some point he realized, I didn't take by the piano side. Because guys, let's be honest, no one can sit down and say they have a top 5 best Amapiano artists. Or you have a top 5 best Amapiano albums. No, it's the next song that drops next week. That's the one we like. You know, there's only a few guys who are making it in, like, who have names for themselves in piano, who can sustain those names for a very long time. Those are people like Maporisa, Kabza, you know, Uncle Waffles. It's basically the DJs, mostly. A few artists as well. But at some point, Young Stunner was Scott Mapuma. At some point, Daliwanga was Limit Crazy. You know what I'm saying? So he realized, I didn't take it. And then he came back, dropped the hip-hop project on the same day as Nasty C, right? Decided to have a whole tour with Nasty C just so he can creep his way back into the culture. Did we peep this? No. And this is not to say that Cassper is not an OG. Cassper hasn't done a lot for the game. But there's a lot of shady things that Cassper has been doing towards the game. And we need to call them out.
Like I said in the branch, that he reminds me of everything that I hate about the industry. For example, how can you say, yeah, if I lose this fight, I'll come on the podcast. You lose the fight. And then you don't come on the podcast.
And judges said you lost a fight.
You know what I'm saying? And then you go around saying you own this alcohol brand when you don't. That's what I'm against. I'm against fakeness.
Fair enough.
That's it. I don't hate the guy, but I need to call out shit when I see shit.
Let's speak about the recent situation, the recent thing that he said about Aries, right?
Aries has a very healthy career. It's niche though. It's very niche. It's good for him and his cult fans. Like he's carved a fan base for himself, and those are his people, and they eat it up, and that's it. But it's been at the same place. It's not A-list, bro.
I agree with every little thing that Cassper said about Aries, right? Aries isn't an A-lister. When it comes to the country, nationally, he wouldn't be an artist considered for a big festival like Global Citizen. And we all know that's facts, right? But the problem here is that Cassper isn't the one who should be saying this. A legend in the hip-hop industry shouldn't be the one who's saying this. A guy who's been in the game for over 10 years shouldn't be the one who's saying this. I should be saying this. This is my job.
No, it's nice. It's Mystique. You don't know anything about him. And you know what I mean? When he comes out at the shows, they haven't seen him. And it's great. But when was the last time he performed in Venda or Newcastle or KwaMashu?
I'm not sure about that.
Yes, because it's niche.
Yeah.
When you say, okay, I'm doing a big festival, Black Coffee, Cassper Nyovest, come on.
But at the end of the day, who cares what I think about Reese? If you love his music for what it actually is, music is more than just bumping your head, guys. It's deeper than just listening to something and bumping it, especially hip hop, right? So whatever or however it makes you feel, however you got out of a situation, like if this song helped you out of a situation, right? A specific Reese song, it made you feel better. Maybe you were depressed or something, or you were sad, or you needed something to make you happy. These are emotions and energies that we feel through music, right? So because Reese isn't important to me, it doesn't mean Reese is not important to you. But at the same time, because Reese is important to you, it does not mean he's important to everyone. And that is all that the rest of the SA hip-hop culture is just trying to preach, that, okay, we understand that Reese has his fans, but not everyone sees Reese that way. And for us who don't see Reese in the way that the Slimes see him, we can't blame the Slimes for seeing Reese in that way because of what he may have done for his fans.
See, at that point, that's what Cassper was trying to say, though. You feel me? You can't be because Cassper, I don't think Cassper ever tried to discredit Reese's music. You feel me? But when he's making the point of, yo, if you're gonna be the A-list star, bro, which is the guy who's filling up stadiums, the guy whose shows are all packed out, the guy who even your grandma knows his music. You feel me? You can't be a nonchalant nigga, bro. You feel me?
So the next situation is situations that I don't like talking about, right? The situation with him and the mother of his child, with his current wife, what. That's really not about hip-hop, and it's none of my business. And I don't want to touch that altogether. But people did lose respect for him with that situation. For me, Cassper, that doesn't change anything you did for the game. And I'm not about to talk about that. But his situation with Ricky, if you know that at some point, these two were not close. Right? Well, at some point, these two were very close. And then something happened. We don't know what happened. And then they just split up. Right? And we don't know what it's about. It happened out of the blue. It messed with all of us because we didn't understand, and we'll never know why. Right? I think they couldn't really patch things up. Right? I think when Ricky passed on, they were still in a rough patch. But shout out to Cassper Nyovest for pulling up to Ricky Rick's funeral and actually speaking.
I then ended up forming a relationship with him, a friendship where we would not only talk about music, but we would talk about life.
This video will be so useless if that man fills up the next stadium he's doing. If he fills up the next stadium he's doing, this video is useless. I mean, he's pulling numbers for his streaming that he's currently doing. I think it's on Twitch or Kick or YouTube, I'm not sure, but he's streaming, right? He said Gushobani and Scooter Baba remix, right? His verses are the top 2 most played hip-hop sounds in the country.
Everything is cloud chasey. I mean, like everything that he does musically. Like when he featured Zola on a track, it was to chase cloud. You know what I mean? Anything he does, it's got not like an artistic purity to it.
You think of older artists or bigger artists that use the new talent to stay relevant.
Cassper.
Nah.
That's Cassper.
And
Cassper is selfish, bro.
Remember when I never used to listen to my teachers when the features. Yo, I might rearrange your features constantly when the reaches. When I reach you, I might beat you when it constantly doing when it don't beat you.
A guy like Cassper could survive of making terrible music for a long time and still be prominent by having big publicity stunts. Yeah.
Like even the time Yabo and like Dr. Shebeleza,
Those
when
were
all
nice,
of you were like
but
losing yourselves to it.
Those were nice songs. That was like his great album. But since then, we haven't heard any great music apart from like Baby Girl, which is my favorite song since since his first album.
I berekit. Everybody, you see my wife? Hosh karamai. Get it? Hosh karamai. Gotta get it China. Tripping into designer. You guys need to learn from the king, bro.
Can I ask you one thing? What has Cassper done to genuinely help someone? Every time Cassper helps you, he's benefiting.